Hey there, Russ here. Welcome back to the shop. This is Rampage number 8. So, um, I hadn't finished that list that we started. We're going to try to finish it today. If I don't, there'll be a Rampage number 9 tomorrow. So, anyway, I sit here and first item I want to talk about. First item I want to talk about, I think, is this right here. If you remember, this is the lamp I used in a couple episodes ago where I was showing you how you could take a lamp, any lamp with a regular bulb, take that bulb out, replace it with the 12-inch bulb, and then I could plug this lamp into a Ryobi battery and run it. And I get light out of one of these lamps. So it's easy to convert it. If your power goes out, you just switch out the bulb and then make your adapter that fits the Ryobi battery to the plug-in, and you can run these things off of that. Anyway, make a long story short, maybe. I just thought I wanted to take a minute just to show you what this is. I wanted bragging rights, I guess you'd say, because I made this thing probably 20 years ago, and you can see it's hollow, and you see how fine detail the cuts are. I actually did this on my Legacy ornamental mill. I used to use that thing all the time when I used to work for a living. And I've done a lot of scrolling type work. And I made a pair of these. This is one of the two. The other one's in the house somewhere. But I don't need lamps here like I did in the last two places that I lived. Here, I have all those overhead lights, and most of them even have fans and ceiling fans. So this thing isn't really have much use in the house anymore. Anyway, I really was pleased with it, and this is really, I was looking at it for the first time in a long time, and I have to tell you, I'm actually impressed with how nice this thing looks and the fine detail. And I remember when I made this, it took a little bit of time and patience, but it was relatively easy to do, believe it or not. And you had to change a bit out. I did it with a router. And then you have a synchronized turning where it's turning this way and your router blade's moving this way while it's turning. And they're in sync to each other so that you stay in line with where you need to be. That's one of the things that the Legacy does. But I just really was just admiring this. But I got to get it back in the house. So I wanted to do this real quick. Anyway, so much about rambling for that. Now you won't see this in the background anymore. So, anyway, moving on. Sometimes when I start doing an OTB thinking thing, and you go, why in the world has you gone off on that tangent? Well, here's a good example of just weirdness sometimes. This is a styrofoam box that I got a shipment in from China. And you go, well, what's so interesting about that? Well, what really surprised me about this is after I got it, I was amazed that the electronic component in there looked just like the day they put it in. It wasn't damaged at all. It came from China. How many times have you get stuff from China that's just beat to hell? So anyway, what impressed me is that this was all they used. But then I realized this thing is actually extremely durable for styrofoam. It's just simple styrofoam, and they wrapped it in packing tape. And the strength of this thing is incredible now. So I've been thinking about it off and on since then, and I'm thinking you could make many different types of things using just styrofoam and packing tape around it to really get a strong piece of something, veneer it maybe. I don't know what I can do with it, but it just keeps me going out and thinking about another substance that you can turn into bigger items. So, but the trick of putting styrofoam on styrofoam, I just keep picking this up and just keep amazing myself at it. How durable this thing has been and what it has gone through is just amazing. That dent right there, I did that. It wasn't done when I got it. But, and like I said, it's amazing. So this tells me there's a lot of other things out there that I think I'm missing where I can use styrofoam for things. If I wrap it in packing tape, then it makes it pretty strong. So Just food for thought. This is one of those OTB things I do, and I just wanted to share with you that's back in the back of my mind, and I grab it and I look at it and tinker with it, open and shut it, and think about it for a while. Every now and then, when I'm in one of my sit-down thinking moods, and I just go outside the box and think about why that is and what can I do with that. So anyway, I thought maybe I'd share that one with you too, because going outside the box sometimes, it doesn't even get you anywhere, but I still have to think about those things and try to understand why did it catch my attention to begin with. So normally something like that, somebody just throw it in the trash and forget it. But you're gonna be seeing that around here for a while, I suspect. So anyway, that's how an OTB mind does work. Next. I would like to just get your honest opinion and your thoughts, I should say, about what you think about a situation I have. I have a company out there, Microjig, and they just came out with a new product called the Grr-ripper2 Go. And it's when you look at it, it looks eerily similar to my gripper, quite frankly. I've made my first gripper 5 or 6 years ago, first video on it, and I've made several since then. In fact, what I'd like to do is, especially if you're not familiar with the gripper, what I would ask is, if you would, I'll leave a link to the video of the evolution of the gripper and show you how I started with it and how I evolved it. And this is my most useful one now. I do have one more that I made since this that's a little different. Instead of silicone, it uses a tape that's a rug grip for that, and that just makes it quicker and easier to make this than it did to even make this one. So that's another story. But the point is, I've had this thing for 4 years, I think, and it's still just as useful when I want to grab a hold of a piece and put it through the saw. I grip something real easy with this without any problem and be able to use it on a table saw. So this is one of my most comfortable push sticks or push pads, whatever you want to call it, that I have, and I probably tend to use this more often than anything. It works really great when you're working on small pieces like this, or even small pieces of plywood. And I do a lot of that type of cutting on the table saw where it is a pretty small piece. These things are awesome for that. So, but anyway, if you take a look at mine and then go look at their instructions, especially of how to use their Grr-ripper2, it sure does remind me of my videos about how I describe how to use mine. So I just want to know what anybody else thinks. I've never heard anything from them. In fact, when I first put that out, I saw it. Somebody brought it to my attention, and I dropped a note to them. And I said, that's eerily similar to mine. Are you guys familiar with my gripper? And the person I had chatted with on comment through YouTube said that he, well, actually, I don't remember exactly what he said now, but he kind of brushed it off that they looked eerily alike, and he started talking about how theirs did this and that instead. So I told him, I said, well, if you want, send me a couple of those. I'll compare it to mine, compare it, and give you an honest review of how good that thing works, if you'd like. I'd be more than happy to do that. And he said he would send me a couple, but I haven't heard from him since. So anyway, so now they still have me on ignore rather than looking at mine going, oh, yeah. And at least say, hey, that is amazing that how that same idea can come out someplace else and we never knew you existed. And I know those things very easily can happen because it's really just a concept of offsetting these lines so that when you put reference this side of it, they're a certain distance away. When you turn it around, that shifts everything off a different distance. It's a very simple principle. So I'm not surprised somebody else hasn't thought of something very similar doing the same thing. And theirs only has 3 permanent legs on it instead of having, like mine, it's every 1/4 of an inch increment. So I end up with a lot more surface that's gripping a piece, especially like a small piece like this. Anyway, I digress. The point is that theirs looks awful similar to mine, and I don't know how to react to it because I didn't even get any kind of mention from them that, yeah, we decided that we could actually make something similar to yours, and we wanted to thank you. And I've never heard from many. All I heard was, oh, yeah, we'll send you a couple so you can review it. And then I've never heard from them again. I don't think they want me to review it. So, anyway, I'm going to do a video on that sooner or later, I think. But I'm really trying to get my thoughts together of how much should I, and what should be my attitude about this whole thing. When you do something unique on YouTube, and believe me, I've done a lot of unique projects on YouTube. My bamboo skewer joinery stuff, my cutting full sheets of plywood. I've done a lot of the unique stuff that you haven't seen anywhere else. And the gripper was just one of them. In fact, it was the first one I did. So I just don't know how I should react. I love it. I consider it a compliment when somebody else uses mine. But this feels different, and I don't know why. So anyway, I just wonder what some of you guys thought about that whole thing. So go take a look at their gripper and look at their instructions of how to use it, and then look at my video about evolution. And in fact, you could go look at some of the other, I've done a couple, 3 demos of using the gripper and see what you think about it. So, and I'm probably going to do some kind of one-on-one video about this thing where and how I really feel. So I still have mixed feelings. I really would love to hear how you would react if it happened to you. I've talked to a couple of other creators out there where this sort of thing has happened to them, but never, I don't think it's ever happened on this scale where some big company is just taking your idea and run with it like that. They got it from me. And again, I don't know for sure where they got their idea, but it just seems eerily similar, especially when you listen to the instructions. So tell me what you think, and maybe I'm just too much ego. I don't know. So I would love to hear your input on that. So if you want to take the time to look at those, I'll leave a link to both of those. Their demo video and my evolution. That's probably the best one to look at. But you can look at the whole playlist of all the grippers and as all the different ones of videos I made of it over the years. So if you want to take the time. But anyway, your input is what I really would think is how you would feel if something like this was to happen to you from your YouTube, and what you think I should do about it or not do about it. So anyway, enough about that. That's my biggest ramble. Wow. So also, I just want to talk about fogs. I'm starting to hear from other people saying that, you know what, they're getting tired of all these outages too, these temporary out for a period of time, 1 or 2 days or 2 hours. And getting through those periods is much easier for me now than it used to be. Used to be you just sit there and wait, especially at night in the dark. You get a flashlight and that's how you did things. So, and now I can actually power up a lot of things in my house. And if the power is going to be up for a long time, I have a plan of how to keep my house functional for days without any problem. So it's not the perfect plan, and I think I want to expand on it. That's why you see me talking about those things. And one of the things I'm thinking about is that I think maybe I will put together some kind of power wall, but it'll only have a small anyway, I'm going to make my own power wall in the house, and I don't know how interested you guys would be on how I do mine when I do it. If you're really interested, just let me know. That'll help encourage me on to get it going. But I'd like to put something together so that if the power goes out, I can flip a couple of switches at one place, and then I can go to a backup battery system. And it'll be there. And then I can recharge that battery system in a very short time with the generator and blah, blah, blah. So stay tuned for that and tell me what you think about, having your own power wall. So another thing I wanted to kind of touch on real quick, and actually this is going to sound strange, but I just wanted to know what you guys think. I remember back 10 years ago when my wife at the time for 40 years at the time, when she passed away, I was old enough that I was able to actually start drawing her Social Security benefit. So I retired. I decided that I was at a point that I could, and I went looking for a house to live in that I figure will be my last place to live. I doubt seriously if I'll ever move out of this house. So anyway, and I just kind of wondered what you guys thought. I was thinking the other day about it, and I was thinking about how good this place has been for me. It's not a real big house. It is a 3-bedroom, but it's only about 1,200 square feet. It used to be a 2-bedroom bungalow built in the 30s. This whole area was just a resort kind of area with the lake, Paddock Lake, being the central location. Everybody would hang out on weekends and up here. So this is just a 2-bedroom bungalow originally. And it's not a bad neighborhood. It's a wonderful town, nice and quiet. The biggest thing goes wrong is when kids go around and opening up car doors in driveways and trying to steal the change, pocket change they find. We've had a few things like that, but there's really not been anything too serious here. So I think I picked wisely about picking a good area. And I have to tell you, I'm very lucky that here in the United States, we have areas like this in our country. And I don't have to live out in the middle of nowhere just to get that, feel that safety that you would feel that you want, especially as you get older. So, because as we get older, we are more vulnerable. I'd like to talk about that a little bit more one of these days in a Rampage, about what do I think about that sort of thing now, about protection. Because, you know, when I was young, just like most, I was pretty invincible when I was young. And in fact, I was quite a little scrapper. But now, I would probably have a rougher time, even though I know what to do. I would probably have a rougher time trying to execute those things. So how do I compensate for that at my age? So, and when do I have to worry about it? 90% of the time I'm here, you know. So anyway, I just wondered what everybody thought about when you retire, those types of things that you look at. One of the big things I did that I didn't even realize just how important it was at the time, but now that you know who lives here too, and we have, we're both up there in years, this house doesn't have any stairs other than the step from the ground level into the house. There's no basement in this house. There's no second floor. And that, to me, one of the criteria when I was looking for that retirement home is I did not want stairs. And I looked at a lot of homes, and a lot of them actually had stairs to basements or to a bi-level type of thing, or a split level, I mean. And I was very tempted about those, but I finally decided, no. Stick to my plan, no stairs. And boy, am I glad. That was the best decision I ever made when I bought this house to retire in, is no stairs. So, if you're about ready to retire, or if you are retired and deciding where you want to move into, what kind of house, you might want to consider those stairs when you get our age. Even if you want to get out and exercise and you're healthy, that's fine. But what happens if you actually hurt yourself and now you can't go up and down stairs for a while? Makes it pretty tough sometimes in your living environment. All of a sudden, you can't take advantage of those levels that you used to take for granted. So I kind of thought that this would be a good way of doing it, and boy, am I glad. Anyway, it's just something I thought about with retirement and about where I wanted to live, and I just thought about those stairs, and I wanted to share that thought with you guys and let you know, so that hopefully it's not too late. Maybe you can figure out to do something along the same line. If you get ready to retire, you might want to consider that thought. So anyway, so much about that. One last thing is I want to talk about another OTB thing. In the electrical stuff, the projects I'm doing, you have to have bus bars a lot. I even little tiny ones for small projects, because even a Ryobi project that has 2 or 3 switches or panels on it, you're going to have central locations where everything joins together with one common feed or one common ground going back to the battery. And so the bus bars, they're actually quite expensive, but I've been working on some ideas about how to make your own. Sorry. It was a scam. So whenever I get one on my phone, it's a scam. I tend to just answer it, count to 2, and hang it up. And that way they don't leave a message, because if it says scam likely, there's it's not somebody that you really want to talk to. So anyway, that's just one of the ways I handle those stupid calls that you get on the phone. After a while, they do stop calling, but I don't get near as many as I used to since I started doing that. So maybe you can do that. Anyway, back to the bus bar. So I was thinking about if I just take, for example, I was looking at this. This is just a quick, easy example. This is a piece of aluminum 16th inch, 1 inch angle aluminum. And I was looking at how to turn this into a bus bar. So you want to stay tuned for that. And also using a wood base for it and just use straight metal. I could even do this with a copper bar. So I would put my copper bar and actually mount it to the wood, and then when I thread it, the threads are actually in the wood and not in the metal. Because as long as that pulls tight against that metal, when you put something in there, that bus bar has made contact. Those threads thread into wood or into the same metal, doesn't matter. So I'm thinking I can make a pretty cheap bus bar. Not only that, if I want to modify that bus bar, I can modify this bus bar once it's set up with the holes. If I got a space for another one, I can actually drill that hole. So I was looking at that and thinking about all that, and lo and behold, I found these. So I thought I'd share this with you. And what makes these unique? I'm sure they've been out there a long time, but I just finally got under my radar. But it's a set of 6 little drill bits. They all fit the quick connect, 1/4 inch style. But what makes these things unique is they're in 6 different sizes. And I'm going to use this one for an example. This is a 1/4 20 tap, but it's also the drill bit. When you look at it, the first 1/2 inch of it is a drill bit and drills it to the right size, that then the threads are on it, and those threads then cut. So as it's drilling, it's also tapping the wood. And I can take a piece of wood, that's what I did here, and you get about 1 inch of overall reach from the tip back to here. And this is also back here, this is a tapered end. So I actually put a nice little, this is one that I drilled out for a number 1032. And it has it has the countersink and everything right in it just from the drill bit. But these are really cool little drill bits, and I'm going to give these a try because I'm going to see if I can show you how to just buy or use simple material you have in your shop to make quick, simple, cheap little bus bars for you to use in your electronic projects. Buying those things what they cost is just ridiculous. So anyway, but I wanted to show you two real quick. It came in this plastic case. So what I did was, and they flopped around in there pretty good, bounced around. I cut the index of all these different sizes and put it here to help me remind me. But the reason I did that is that I also put a piece of grip, rug grip, a couple strips here and the grip underneath the whole thing so that when it's closed, they don't rattle around quite so much. But what I think I like about it is you'll notice just a little tip here. You see how I have them facing opposite directions, every other one alternating back and forth? The reason I did that is that if you look at your reference here, and I look at this, and I say, well, I want to use the 1024, well, I can see that's third from the smallest, or the smallest tier, the biggest one is over here. So if I go 1, 2, 3, I can pull this out, use it, set this down. When I'm ready to put it back, I can look at them, and I know exactly where to put this one back. It's where these two are the same next to each other. So I can just take that, put that one right back. I don't have to try to look at the sizes of those things or anything, because do you ever try to look at the sizes of those anymore? They're making them smaller and smaller to see. So I swear. But that makes it easy for me to be able to grab the right one on the fly by using it this way. I can just set it down on the table like so, pick the one I want based on my index, and when I get done, I know exactly where it goes back. And it's still in the same case it came in. So this is not a bad little case. I thought I'd show you this. But more than anything, I thought I'd share with you about these because I'm getting ready to come out with some kind. I've been playing with this design to do your own bus bars, cheap and on the fly. And what I really like about it is that if I come back later and say, shoot, I need one more, I can actually just make one on the fly right in the material after I'm pretty much got it in place even. So you can always modify this as you go along too. So anyway, food for thought, bus bars. I think that's going to be a great little idea once I get this thing down to where I'm comfortable with explaining to you what I've done with it. So anyway, so much for my rambling. I appreciate you being around this long. I can't believe I stayed on this video this long. But after 2 rampages, I'm feeling a lot better. So anyway, any thoughts, any comments? I would love to hear your opinions about any of this stuff or a new subject this brings to mind to you. Watch out, because you bring it to my attention, I might start rambling about that too. So I do like talking to you guys, as well as I'm sure you must love listening to me. So leave your comments. Whatever you do, I do read them all, and I do enjoy them. So if you learned something here or you like this video, hit that like button. It sends a message to me that I'm doing something right. Most importantly, though, please come back again because I'm nowhere near done. Thanks. And we'll see you guys again very soon. Bye.